Now the new Ladybug is a little bit faster, a little bit longer.
It's faster, it's quieter, and luckily for Burnell, it's smoother.
Gretna police say one of the gunmen turned 18 just yesterday. Now he's wanted for the murder of a taxi driver. This project should be finished by the end of December. The Grand Isle leaders worry without additional protection, the sand will just keep washing away. The parish can't ban the sale of ingredients used to make meth, but detectives put stores on notice to watch for anyone buying large amounts of items like drain cleaner. Red snapper are now so common in the Gulf of Mexico, it's easy for anglers to catch their limit and more. And we were talking about it, just all the cool things that you have here at City Park, and we're going to go around again. The carousel that has so much history, and now a brand new roller coaster. Plumbers say even if you didn't have a problem this time, you should check your pipes and consider insulating them in case we get any more frigid weather. Rain and wind are pounding Lafourche Parish right now. This is a stretch of LA1 between Lockport and La Rose. Let me step out of the way and show you what's going on. You can see at least one home here with flames just shooting out of the roof. At this point, I can tell you most of the flames have died down. Now firefighters are going inside to put out some of the hot spots. And I'm talking now to one of the people who lives in one of those homes, Joe Rando. First, tell me, you didn't have a lot of time to get out there.
Not at all.
Farmers won't know exactly how much sugar the cane produces until it gets to the mill, but tastes pretty sweet to me. The environmental impact is also a concern out here. This is a popular area for crabbing, shrimping, and boating. All right, well, the Ladybug roller coaster is back at City Park. You can see it's a lot of fun to ride, so come check it out this weekend. Back to you. Roland and Arnick Savan had just settled into bed when something almost knocked them out of it.
It's a big crash. I thought the wheel was coming down.
Louisiana State Police say this truck was headed south on LA1 when it didn't make the curve near the Intracoastal Waterway. The 18-wheeler continued straight, clipping the Savans house and slamming into the home next door. The force knocked the house several feet off its foundation and reduced a bedroom to splinters. The homeowner was babysitting on the North Shore at the time, and her son says that saved her life.
My mom would have been home. She'd have been sitting right there in the corner on her computer, and that man would have killed her.
This is a heavily traveled route to Port Fourchon. Arnick Savan once counted 88 tractor trailers in 45 minutes coming around the curve. And she says many of them don't slow down to the speed limit. It even happens when troopers and reporters are on the scene. I had to move out of the way of a truck that crossed the white line. And it's more than close calls. The Savans put up a sign counting the number of times a truck came into their yard or hit the house. This morning's crash made it 36.
I don't see why we have to have 36 wrecks for them to come and realize that it is a dangerous spot. It takes somebody with good common sense to realize this.
The Savans tell me there used to be caution lights here warning drivers about the curve. But they say a truck knocked them down and they were never replaced. Lafourche Parish officials set up a meeting with DOTD next week. The state maintains LA1 and is responsible for any signs or lights on the road. As two families try to clean up, they hope number 36 will be the last crash here.
I hope it don't take for somebody to get killed. Because my mom would have been home, she would have got killed.
They're mobile, messy, and most of all, extremely dangerous. And there are more meth labs popping up in Lafourche Parish these days.
The sites have doubled. The amount we've seen in volume has doubled. And we believe, unfortunately, it's only going to get worse.
Sergeant Adam Dufresne is part of the narcotics division at the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. He first heard about possible meth labs in the parish in 2009 and quickly had to become an expert. Investigators busted 4 meth labs in 2010, 8 so far in 2011.
This is an actual digital thermometer. We use it to test the how hot or cold items are in the lab.
Crystal meth is a stimulant similar to crack cocaine, but a much cheaper high. Dufresne believes the bad economy helped increase the popularity of the drug in southeast Louisiana. The ingredients used to make meth can be found at most grocery stores, and it can be cooked almost anywhere.
You can pack all the ingredients into a backpack, a purse, an ice chest, and you can cook in a car.
Making meth is dangerous. The chemical reaction produces toxic fumes that can explode under pressure. Meth labs must be treated as hazmat sites, and Lafourche firefighters and emergency responders all trained to take down labs. Even a small lab requires a lot of manpower, at least 8 people and several hours to disassemble.
It's not like fighting like firefighters are used to fighting a fire. You know, you go in and you do it. Hazmat is totally different. You have to take your time, see what you have, get everybody on the right page, have a briefing with all your responders, fire, EMS. They all play a big part in that.
The parish can't ban the sale of ingredients used to make meth, but detectives put stores on notice to watch for anyone buying large amounts of items like drain cleaner. Many meth cooks teach other people how to make the drug, and Sergeant Dufresne says most of the labs in Lafourche are connected. He knows there are more to be uncovered.
It could be in a neighborhood. It could be in your neighbor's house. It could end up in your garbage can or your neighbor's garbage can. It's all over. And we're just, like I said, we're trying to combat it efficiently and safely.
Detectives hope to send a message. Meth isn't welcome here, and they hope to shut down the local business before someone gets seriously hurt. In Lafourche Parish, Carolyn, Scofield, Fox 8 News. Clifton Detillier joined the Army in 1941. Just 20 years old at the time, he said goodbye to his wife, who was expecting their first child. He left Lafourche Parish for Camp Livingston in the northern part of the state.
We happened to be a 785th Tank Battalion, and we had, I'd say about 50 to 60% of them was from down the bayou or from Matthews or Easton.
Training for war was grueling, hard days of drills and miles of marching. Long, lonely nights followed far from home.
It wasn't easy to write letters, but we took time to write them.
Detillier made friends with the other men in his battalion. One stood out, a soldier so homesick he couldn't sleep at night.
I really mean this. He was miserable. And I'm the type of man that just can't take that. I went and see the captain about him. And I told him how he was doing. I said, if y'all don't do something for him, I think he's going to pass away.
The soldier didn't know how to read or write, but he had an envelope with his address. Detillier offered to write a letter home for him.
I started off a dear sweetheart, because he was drafted on the day they were supposed to get married.
Detillier wrote more letters to the soldier's sweetheart and family over the next couple of months.
He was looking better when I'd write those letters for him. And he thanked me from the bottom of his heart.
After a few months of evaluations, the Army discharged the man for medical reasons.
Captain said, you got him at medical discharge, you take him to the train. I did. And that's the last I know of him.
Detillier stayed in the Army, going first to California, then out to sea. He never saw combat and came home to Lafourche Parish in 1944. Time passed, his sons grew up, and his wife died in 1999. Detillier sometimes thought about the soldier he knew so long ago. He tried to look him up, but couldn't remember the man's name.
I kept wondering how he had made out in life, but I never could find out.
Detillier moved to the Broadway Rehabilitation Center in Lockport a few months ago. He shared his war stories over lunch one day, and a woman at a nearby table overheard.
Telling me the story about it in 1942, that's when he had to leave. I said, well, that's when they took my boyfriend away, 1942, that same year. I said, he left from the armies, Mr. Clifton said, and I left from Lockport.
Beulah Mathern's boyfriend was just 18 years old when he was drafted. Norris Commodell dropped out of school in the first grade.
Daddy died, their last one was a year, and all the little ones, and they were just teenagers, them, they had to fish crab to make a living, to feed the little ones.
Commodell left for the Army on the day he and Mathern were supposed to get married. He sent 3 letters home during his short time at basic training.
He wrote first, sweetheart. And He was saying how lonesome he was and everything, what they were doing to him and stuff like that.
Commodell married Mathern after his honorable discharge in 1942, and the two raised a family. He passed away in 1983. Beulah kept his letters from boot camp, one of them in a frame in her room at the nursing home. She and Detillier began swapping stories.
All the stuff he told me, what he was doing with the letter and all that stuff, well, all that's on the letter I got.
He went and get it, brought it to me. I said, I had no mistake. That's my writing. I didn't write too good.
Camp Livingston. He was in, dear sweetheart.
I'm dropping you just a few lines to give you some more news.
After 70 years of wondering, Detillier found the letter he wrote.
I'm so lonesome of you and Mama and the family that I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
He could finally fill in the blanks.
Love and kisses to you from your sweetheart, Norris Commodell.
The two families lived just 17 miles apart for nearly 7 decades. His and Matthew's, hers and Cutoff.
I understand that they made a very good living together. He learned how to read and write enough to get a captain's license for a tugboat.
Now the two live just down the hall from each other, and their two families share a remarkable bond.
To know that this little town, this little community, they come in contact, you know, at the place over here. I mean, it was amazing.
Commodell's son is searching for 2 other letters Detillier wrote. His mother saved them all. Vincent Commodell thinks the end isn't written yet.
I told him, I said, well, you need to marry him. I said, to finish the story.
A letter of love written in 1942 might spark something new 70 years later. In Lockport, Carolyn Scofield, Fox 8 News.